welcome to The Point. I'm your host, Duane Carey. The Point is an interview show that features one interesting guest for 10 minutes or less. We start with a quick introduction. We end with the guest giving a shout out, and that 8 minutes in between, that's where they make their point. Today, we're happy to have with us family law attorney, Harry Siegel. Harry, welcome.
Thanks, Duane. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. So Harry, long time in the family law practice, I believe six attorneys in your office. You practice throughout the whole state, correct?
That's correct. SIEGELLAW is a full-service family law firm. I've been practicing 30 years, and we do practice family law all over the state of Maryland.
Okay, great. And I know you in particular, you're the founder of the Maryland Association of Justices Family Law section and longtime chair.
That's correct. Maryland Association for Justice is the trial lawyers of the state of Maryland. And about 20 years ago, I came to them with the idea that they needed to have a family law section. They gave me a one-year trial, and at the end of the 1 year said, wow, you brought a lot of new members into our organization. And I've been involved with it ever since. I've been either chairing or co-chairing it. I have put on dozens of seminars across the state for judges, attorneys, and others.
So Harry, I understand that your point today has a lot to do with COVID-19 and its effect in really varied ways on families in Maryland. Is that right?
There's no question about it, Duane. COVID-19 has hit all families hard, and families who have children living in different households have been even hit more difficulty with than others.
So how is that manifesting itself? What kind of are you seeing cases involving this, and are you able to adjudicate those? What's the practical aspect of that?
Well, family law attorneys are hard at work, and I think that as an industry, at least in the state of Maryland, the field of family law is very busy right now. I think that families and parents have a lot of questions. I think a lot of those questions are natural questions.
Such as?
Am I supposed to send my child for visitation? There may be a fear that the other household may have been exposed. I just don't want to risk sending my child to the other household simply because I don't know if there's going to be a problem or not. The other parent is a healthcare worker, is on the front lines in the fire department or law enforcement, and is exposed to COVID daily. These are real issues, and some of them don't have easy answers.
Is that that fear, is it starting to wane a little bit after the initial panic, or is it still, are you still seeing kind of a steady state of those questions?
If I had to guess, I would say, if anything, fear is maintaining steadily or it's increasing. The Chief Judge of the Court of Appeals issued an order more than a month ago saying that families needed to follow their existing custody and access orders.
Okay.
And that's a baseline, but that doesn't take into account if there's been an exposure, if there's been a quarantine. If you're the parent who doesn't have the children this week, but you have to quarantine yourself, should you have your children? Should the other parent have the children? These are real issues, and they are consuming Maryland families.
And I'm sure none of this was in most parenting plans before, right? This is kind of all new to people. No one really predicted pandemic shelter in place type actions, right?
They didn't, but I'll tell you what, Duane, there is a much simpler issue going on here,
okay,
which is that parents need to exercise common sense, whatever that means in a situation. And common sense may mean not exposing your child to COVID-19, not having the friends over to play, not having another couple over to your house when one of the parents has just either in the middle of a quarantine or has just finished having the virus. Common sense. And for the most part, parents are doing a great job, but where family law attorneys get involved is when someone is not doing a very good job.
What kind of practical tips do you have for people about any of these family law topics?
Well, self-care is the single most important thing that I would ask anyone to use. Uh, Self-care is not just in the news about healthcare providers and some of the tragedies we're seeing with them take their own lives or have
Yeah.
other issues, as well as first responders. Parents, the stress that parents are under is enormous. You're a parent, you're a spouse, you've got your own job, you've got financial issues brought on by the economy and the COVID virus.
And
You're
you're a teacher.
supposed, yes, and you're supposed to teach your kids remotely. And that's just the short list of what you're supposed to do. Then you're supposed to find ways to get food, to go to a store and not have an anxiety attack when you see all these people not wearing masks, not wearing gloves, not social distancing all around you. Um, there's never been a more challenging time to be a parent, but I can tell you from 30 years of experience that there are resources for parents, a phone call away, an email search away, to have someone just to talk to. And I think that parents need to understand that they need to use their resources because otherwise the pressure and the stress and the anxiety will just rip you apart.
Harry, what else, as we wrap up our point here, we'll get to your shout out in a minute, but any other final points you wanted to make about family law and what people need to be thinking about at this time?
If you and your spouse are in some issue that's going to lead to a divorce afterwards, I think that the best thing you can do right now is to find out those issues you can agree on, then identify those issues that you don't agree on, and then agree not to talk about those issues and
Okay.
wait until you have attorneys involved. You can have those attorneys involved now. Attorneys are doing phone conferences, video conferences. I'm a longtime family law mediator. I do video mediations. I do phone mediations. There are so many ways to help resolve your issues now, to decrease the stress now, to get a better education now about things that parents don't think about too much, but divorce attorneys are always thinking about.
Okay, wonderful. That's great. That's a great spot to wrap it up. We will include all of your contact information when we go to post this interview. And why don't you bring us home with your shout out?
This is a shout out that I've been using for many years.
Okay.
If you're a parent and you've been through a divorce, you're going through a divorce, maybe you're not married and it's a child custody situation, I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about life through your children's eyes, but not today, in 20 years from today. I want you to think about your child in their mid-20s or mid-30s, and that they're going to be thinking back on their childhood, and they're going to be thinking and judging each of their parents. And once your children decide if and when they want to have children, they have to decide how to parent and how not to parent. They have to decide which parent gave and loved unconditionally. This is the trial that's far more important than any custody trial that I ever do. This is the trial of life, and it's all from your spending a little bit of time understanding how life is perceived through your children's eyes.
That's great. Such great advice. Thank you, Harry. Thank you for your 30 years of experience and bringing it to us in 8 or 10 minutes. I'm sure our viewers will appreciate it. Thanks.
It's my pleasure, Duane. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye, you too.